What am I doing? Oh, hello, this is a video of me typing on my phone. How exciting, wow. Hello, my name is Effie and today I'm going to be doing the alternative girl tag because I am an alternative girl. I mean, I know you're all very surprised about both of those things, but yeah. I know a lot of my videos are based around things to do with my style, like hair and makeup, fashion and stuff. And I thought it might be interesting for you guys if other alternative women have done this tag and I've really enjoyed their videos and learning about their style and variations of this tag. But I am stealing the questions from Julia Zelg, whose channel I will leave below, since I am copying her questions and things like that, and she seems to be the originator of the tag, the alternative girl tag. Okay, so the first question is just simply describe your style. My style varies a lot. Like, I don't feel like there's a definite subculture I fit into. Like, I know some people identify as goth or scene or emo or like Lolita or things like that, pastel goth, punk. I feel like I always just define my style as just umbrella alternative because I feel like I have a lot of different influences. I definitely identify with parts of the punk subculture and the ethos of the punk subculture in the music, but also, and there are definitely elements in my style about the punk subculture, but then there are also elements of the goth style and pastel goth and scene and things like that. So I'm changing all the time, and I guess I guess it's just alternative. It's just a mishmash of different things I like, which I think a lot of styles are. And if you are like me and you don't fit into a particular like subculture, then that's completely fine. And if you do, like if you identify as goth or something, that's fine too. You just do you. Interesting though, I did used to really heavily identify with the scene subculture from when, I guess it was when I first started like dyeing my hair and being able to wear makeup and being able to choose my own clothes. Scene was the thing I went for, and I definitely fit into that subculture. I liked the music, and I liked, this was from the ages about maybe like 11 to 15 is when I started to kind of come out of it. I had the big pink hair. I'll have to probably put in some pictures. I comb it every day. I'd have like extensions, big bows, different coloured skinny jeans, go to shows all the time. I still go to shows all the time, to be honest. Before that I still dressed strangely and different to my friends, but scene was the first like me intentionally being like, yes, this is a style, this is a subculture, I am involved in this type of thing. How did you start wearing different clothes, hair, piercings, etc.? So how did you start in the dressing differently or alternatively? Like I kind of just said, I've always dressed very like different. I think some of my first style inspirations before the scene phase I just talked about came up were cartoons, and I would always like wear brightly coloured like skinny jeans in like primary school and brightly coloured tops, and I would like colour coordinate everything. And I had very particular like colour palettes for my clothes. Like in primary school it was like red, blue and white were like my colour palette, which reminded my friend's dad at the time of Dr. Seuss, and they used to say Effie's main style inspiration is Dr. Seuss. My friends actually showed me what scene was in her computer room on the computer, and she actually showed me what scene was because she was like talking about it, and I really liked a lot of the music and things like that, but I didn't really know what scene was. I mean, I was like 11 years old, I was like, I don't know what this is. And they went onto MySpace. MySpace was a thing, and it was just like the dying days of MySpace. Like, it was starting to not become cool anymore, and they showed me what scene was and what emo was, and they showed me all of these pictures I remember of like girls with like different coloured hair and like boys wearing makeup and stuff, and I was like, whoa, this is like, you know when you see something and you're like, that's me. It sounds like dumb, but it really like, it's like, oh, people can look like that, because before I didn't really know anyone who was alternative. I'm sure I'd seen like the odd person on the street maybe, but I didn't know that you could look like that. That's when I started to do research into it, and like how to dye your hair, where to get clothes from, and how to make clothes, and it became this whole like world was like opened up to me really through my friend. And so thank you. I doubt they'll be watching this video, but I'm not going to name drop them anyway, but yeah, so my friend basically introduced it to me or put a name to what I was like already kind of into. The third question on the tag is, do your parents accept your style? Now, I was living with my grandparents. I was brought up by my grandparents, so I was with them when I first started kind of experimenting with my style and dyeing my hair and all that. And at first they were very opposed to the idea. We had like a few arguments about it. Because they're older, they had very negative association with people who maybe like look different and wear a lot of makeup and things like that. But over the years, I persevered with it. I explained to them, and they kind of saw it as something that like wasn't going anywhere, and they began to like soften to it, and now they're like, we're chill, we're completely fine. I would say it took them maybe 2-3 years to become fully like accepting of it. It took them like a little while to get used to it, but now my grandmother will send me messages like, so lady with blue hair on the train today, you should dye your hair blue, and I saw this cool choker that you would like, and she'll send me pictures and like clothing ideas to make and stuff because I like making clothes. So now they're both super supportive and will compliment me when I dye my hair and stuff. But when I first started, that was like not the case at all, especially because I was like very young when I started doing this. I was like 11, 12, as I mentioned earlier. They were very opposed, but I think it's just because it was something I didn't understand. And I think that education is something that could maybe help your parents if they're opposed. Like, I know when my grandparents started meeting my alternative friends and stuff like that, that helped them because they were like, oh, they're just like a bunch of normal kids that just dress a bit differently, and that's fine. Maybe you could show them YouTubers you like fashion articles, stuff like that, and that it is just a way of expressing yourself. It's nothing negative, but if your parents are in a really negative place right now, it might not always be like that, and I hope it's not. And I think a lot of people kind of come around to it when they realise it's not going anywhere. And I mean, most of the time your guardians will just in the end want you to be happy rather than wanting to control you, and if they don't, you're going to be old enough eventually. You're going to have your own money and control over your own body, so it won't be forever if you are in a place where your parents won't let you do things and stuff like that. But I do definitely recommend, if you don't kind of want conflict, definitely easing them into it. Maybe changing it just a little bit at a time, so they can kind of get used to it and stuff, because I don't know, parents are weird. Sometimes they're not supportive of stuff, and that sucks, and I hope your guardians are accepting of it, but that's not always the case. As far as like piercings and tattoos and stuff like that, I waited till I was old enough. It was basically like, you can pay for it yourself, and you're old enough, you can do what you want with your body. That's always been like the rule with like piercings and tattoos. So the legal piercing age here is 16 without parental permission. If you're under 16, you can go and get all the piercings you want. You have parental permission, but I did not, so I waited until I was 16. I had no problem with like sort of younger teens and stuff getting piercings. It's just didn't work for me and my like family dynamic. And I also waited till I was 18 to get my first tattoo, because my tattoo artist doesn't tattoo underage people, and the legal tattoo age here is 18, and I feel like tattooing is much more strict, where a lot of tattoo artists won't tattoos of underage people. But I do know also a lot of people who are underage and have tattoos, and honestly it's just whatever works for you. Question number 4 is, have you ever suffered from bullying, from being different? So I am someone who has definitely been bullied pretty much for my whole school life, and I still get abuse sometimes on the street. It's not like everyone, most people like just don't give a shit and they just walk past me, but sometimes I'll be walking down the street, even now, people yell at me at school, people call me a freak, people throw food at me, because I've always been kind of weird and a bit of a loner, which is not good if you're in school. So I definitely was bullied, but I mean, to me, I didn't want to change my appearance for other people, and I was really like, just like fuck you at people who like bullied me. Like, it did upset me at first, but then it just became something that I could just kind of brush off. And now if someone does yell at me in the street, I'm like, I literally feel nothing when you yell at me. Yeah, it'd be nice if that didn't happen, but it does, unfortunately. And if you are alternative, it is something I'm sure you've unfortunately dealt with as well. Actually, I went to, in most schools in the UK have like a uniform, and that Me and the uniform did not mesh very well. So I actually got in a lot of trouble at school for being alternative as well. My school actually bought me a box of like a brown hair dye once. But yeah, they actually like kicked me out a couple times. But that's more to do with me not following the uniform rules and being a little asshole kid than my alternative style. But yeah, even in school I would like dye my hair in the holidays and stuff, and there are definitely ways of getting around uniform codes, and I still had fun with my style even though we had like a uniform. I just had to look kind of plain for school, which I mean, fortunately just something you gotta deal with in life. But yeah, question number 5 is, what is the most outrageous look you've ever had? I don't know, because I feel like my scene phase is my most outrageous look because I had like big backcombed hair. Again, some pictures are necessary for this. A ton of like eyeliner, all different coloured clothes and stuff like that. But when I was in my scene phase, I was young, I was like 13, 14, and I didn't have any piercings or tattoos or like actual body mods, and now I feel like I dress extreme in a different way. I have my ears stretched, I have tattoos and piercings, and I wear like huge platform shoes that are like this big. So I'm not sure what is the most extreme. Like some people would look at me now and think that I look more extreme than I did back then, but then I think felt more extreme because I put a lot more I guess effort in. Like I wake up and my piercings are in my face and my tattoos are on my body, but I used to like have to back comb my hair every day. So I guess my style maybe has always been the same amount of extreme, but it has just evolved and now I'm a different kind of alternative than I used to be. So yeah, maybe you guys can decide that. Am I more alternative now, or did I used to be more alternative? I don't know. There were definitely people who were way more alternative than me. Okay, so question number 6 is, do you have any tattoos or piercings? Yes, I do. I'll probably insert some pictures of the ones that are less visible, but I'll just point to the ones you can see. I have an anchor on my face. It's currently covered in foundation, so you probably can't see it. I have a tattoo here of H.P. Lovecraft, one of my favourite original, spooky, sci-fi horror authors. I love him to pieces. I actually want to build up a whole sleeve of authors I like on this arm. I also have Script, Panic at the Disco Script, because I'm super cool and so out of my emo phase, on the backs of my thighs. And then I also have a mouth with fangs tattooed on my knee, which is actually a reference to the song Vampires Will Never Hurt You. My Chemical Romance. There's a lot of My Chemical Romance happening. I hope it's okay. I also have the demolition rubbers on the backs of my ankles. And that's all my tattoos I have right now. And piercings, I have quite a few piercings. They're all like in this area right now. Although I would really like to get my nipples pierced because nipple piercings look cool. I have my ears stretched to 38mm. I have both sides of my nose pierced. This one fell out when I was asleep, so it's very red and kind of sticking out of my nose, which I should probably get sorted out, but I have dahlia piercings here, and I have cheek piercings here. I also have my septum, which is stretched to 6mm. I feel a bit like a flight attendant at like... But yes, those are all of my current body modifications. Number 7 is, I kind of said this before, but what would you say to people who are suffering from being judged for how they look right now? And I would just say, just know that you look cool, and that's why people are like yelling at you. A lot of the time people are mean to things they don't understand or they're afraid of. I feel like that's how a lot of people feel inside, and they're kind of scared to be different or what they want to be, and because you're being so out there, people kind of get like angsty about it, and that's not cool. But also know, especially if you're in school, as soon as you get out of school, everyone is going to be way more tolerant of you. Like obviously I can't speak for your family and home life, but in school it's a very strange atmosphere where you're with all these people, these random people, like at once, and then once you're out of school you can kind of like choose where you want, and people honestly give a lot less of a shit in the real world. The biggest advice would be try and surround yourself with supportive people. Even if you don't have supportive people at home or at school, you can find people online. You can make friends. Like some of my closest friends are people who I've met through Tumblr and stuff like that. Yeah, just find a support system till you are in a place where you don't have to deal with this shit anymore. But just remember that you're cool and you're important and you're valid, and even, and no matter how you look, like, if it makes you happy, you're not hurting anyone, so you're fine. And if anyone tells you you're not fine, then just know that you're like way prettier than them. So, but yeah, that's the end of this tag video. I know I rambled a lot, but I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.